Start getting you excited. I don't know where you're at today. Here's Hannah. Can't have a child. The Lord's spoken to her that she will bear a child. He'll be the prophet of Israel. And in the midst of barrenness, in the midst of heaviness, in the midst of difficulty, this is her words. There is no one holy like the Lord. There is no one besides you. There is no rock like our God. If you're walking through a place right now where you're just feeling barrenness, depressed, despair, defeat, discouraged, I want to tell you, begin to lift off the heaviness of those things by lifting up praise and worship to God. You with me? I want to give you the last thing here. It's the song of breakthrough. This is specific warfare over the barriers that we face. How many of you guys know we have barriers that we have to break through in our life? Those things, those issues that we just can't seem to get victory over, those things that hold us back like vices, habits, sickness, strongholds in our life, and we just can't see it. I know some people that have been walking through the things for years and years and years and just can't seem to get victory on those things. This is exactly what Goliath was to Israel. He was a barrier. Remember, not even one time he came up and he took out his sword and he lied to Israel. He intimidated them. He became a barrier to the victory that God had called them to. It reminds me of this story of Paul and Silas. And you probably know the story. They were jailed in Philippi. And the jail doors became a barrier for them to go take the gospel message really into Europe of that time. And they were in their prison cells and they began to face the battle. I want to read the story. It's incredible. Acts 16, 23 through 26. After they had been severely flogged, okay, so they just got beat down. They were thrown into prison, and the jailer was commanded to guard them carefully. When he received these orders, he put them in the inner cell and fastened their feet with stocks. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken at once. All the prison doors flew open, and everyone's chains came loose. Come on now. Man, maybe you're a barrier right now. Maybe you've been chained to some habits and some hang-ups in your life for far too long. You begin to lift up the spiritual power, the spiritual arsenal, the spiritual weapon of praise and worship. And this is what they do in this place. They had just been, could you be any more discouraged? They'd been beaten for their faith. They were in the inner cell with a special guard appointed over just them. He locks their legs up, and the only weapon these guys have left at this time is the weapon of praise and worship. So what do they begin to do? They begin to praise the Lord. I think so often in our life we get so discouraged and so down and out, and the barriers begin to be so big in our life that we do the opposite. We begin to tell our problems how big they are. We begin to look at them and say, I'm never going to go over this. And Paul and Silas lead the way. They felt the song begin to rise up in their heart, and they begin to sing to the Lord. The Lord hears the song of praise, and he begins to unlock all of earth to free them from this. This was the song of deliverance, the song of a breakthrough. If you're here today, whether it's a breakthrough in your life, it's a barrier you have to get through, maybe it's a birthing, maybe there's some barrenness over your life, maybe there's just some things that have had no life in such a long time. You've been living in this spiritual void for way too long, and that, as I talked about, going and saying, man, I just haven't felt the presence of the Lord in so long. Maybe that's you today. There's a spiritual barrenness in your life. Or maybe there's a battle that you're facing. It's time to begin to lift up a song, praise. Let's all stand together. The Lord is calling you to a place of spiritual warfare. Y'all with me? He's calling you to spiritual warfare. Let me tell you this. One of the answers to beating the giants and the enemies of your life is not to do nothing. That doesn't work. And so the Lord has called us to a place of spiritual battle. You can either choose to fight it and win, or you can not choose and you can lose. But I know we have a bunch of people here who are ready to begin to win the victories against the enemy in your life. And so I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to be your cheerleader for just a minute. And I want you to begin to worship the Lord. I don't know what you're going through in your life, but I want to tell you, when you begin to magnify the Lord, when you begin to give him praise, when you begin to stop, pause, reflect, yet I will give you praise. Though things look down and out, though things look difficult, though I don't know how this barrenness is going to go over, though this battle, yet you are my rock. And in you I will give all praise. And you're going to begin to experience spiritual victories like you never have. How many of you guys are ready for some spiritual victories in your life? I'm telling you, the next about 10 minutes, you can begin to start the battle. We're going to lead the way into this battle with praise and worship. You with me? We're going to lead the way. I'm going to ask the worship team to lead us here for a few minutes. I'll come up and close this out. But let's just worship the Lord.